This is XY Spark, restoring holistic, healthy masculinity.
Hey guys, how is it going? Welcome. Listen, this is your men's coach Rolando. I'm so glad that you guys have decided to take the time to join us here for our podcast. And this afternoon, I wanted us to have a conversation because I want the conversation to continue as we talk about, as men, when we are not confident with ourselves as men, all our relationships are impacted. And I would love to hear from you. If you're joining us live on Instagram, hey, I see you, Volvo. I see you're waving. Good to have you here with us on our podcast this afternoon. The XY Spark podcast is a podcast that is designed specifically for men. We have conversations that helps you with personal development and self-growth. It is our desire and our passion here on XY Spark that all our presentations will give you some insight about things that you can do better as a man to have a better relationship with yourself first, and then with others with whom you interact on a day-to-day basis. And so this afternoon, whether you are joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, or here on Instagram, we welcome your comments. Please feel free to ask questions. And the one thing we can tell you is that if we don't have all the answers, we will work on exploring and finding the answer together. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about myself before we dive right into it. I am a registered psychotherapist and men's life coach, and I've been working in the field of psychotherapy now for a minimum of 12 years and counting. So over a decade and counting, I have been in the clinical space, and I've been working with men now from right across the planet. And so this afternoon, as you join in our conversation, I am hoping to hear from you, because one of the things I've noticed as a men's coach is that a lot of men, we are not confident. We are not confident. We struggle with our self-esteem. We struggle with our self-worth. We struggle and we are not as confident as we should be. And we are hoping that our conversation this afternoon will give you some sort of a platform upon which to stand. We are going to start first by talking about some of the ways in which we have observed that men are not confident. And because of this, it is really causing a lot of issues. Family Life and Beyond, thank you for joining us. We see you out there. We appreciate you. Send a shout out to all those who are joining us live here on Instagram. And I want you guys to know that we are open to hear your comments, your questions, your feedback, because the goal here is to promote holistic, healthy masculinity as we continue to celebrate one of our key mantras. Because what we believe here in XY Spark is that personal development is not an event, it's a lifestyle. And so we want to engage with you and seek to work with you as we develop and build that lifestyle whereby you can become the best version of yourself. So this afternoon, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to jump right into our conversation right now. And we remind you that this is the XY Spark podcast, and we are here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we want you to know that you are more than welcome to join us as we engage in a lively conversation that has to do with men's mental health, men's mental wellness, men's personal development. Whichever one you feel most comfortable saying, it's okay with us. We are not limiting you at all. So welcome, guys, to the podcast. Now, when we are not confident with ourselves as men, it impacts all our relationships. Do you agree with this statement? or do you disagree? And if you agree, I would like you to share with me why you agree. If you don't, I'd like you to share with me why you don't agree. But we are going to talk about that a little bit. Now, over my years of experience working with men, some of the things that I've noticed is there are so many different arms or so many different things that is impacting the way men live their lives. There are several signs that we have seen throughout the years of men who are not confident. And because of that lack of confidence, men are living their lives in what I call a vacuum, so to speak. They are not opening themselves up to the possibility that maybe the things that they're doing is just not right. They're not confident enough to admit that they're struggling and need help. They are not open to being coached or being taught or being mentored by anyone, because the mindset that they have is that how can I or how could I allow myself at this age or this stage in my life to admit that I don't have all the answers. And so that's one of the first pieces that we want to really dive into, which is acknowledging that the way that you're doing things or the way that you're living your life is not adding value to you. And so it's important for every man to be brutally honest with himself and start recognizing the importance of challenging some of those beliefs that he has first about himself. Because you see, when a man's belief about himself is not clear or is not properly defined, sometimes what I notice happens to a lot of men is we are living our lives in two different worlds, sort of an on the river, on the bank. There's a lot of indecisiveness in how we live our lives. And because of that, we tend to miss a lot of opportunities as it relates to how we create or how we build up the energy and the drive to step away from the way we are living or to step away from some of the beliefs that we have about ourselves to become better. So many times as men, we are not confident with ourselves because of the belief that we have about ourselves. So, what we want to really take some time and explore is where did that belief that you have about yourself come from? What is the foundation of that belief? Were you influenced by, let's say, you were influenced by your community? Or were you influenced by the love of your life? And sometimes what I've discovered is that there are a lot of men who their high school sweethearts or their first love, when that relationship goes south, depending on some of the things that were said to them or the way the relationship ended, they move away from that relationship with all that baggage, all that pain, all that trauma. Sometimes those relationships ended in maybe your partner was unfaithful, and because of that unfaithfulness, it has caused you to lose confidence in yourself. What you have to remember is that if you continue to live your life within the confines of self-blaming, within the confines of the unwillingness to accept the reality that even though that was your first time love, your first love, you have to also accept the reality that maybe that was not the right person for you. And a lot of times, as men, we tend to move away from those relationships and we start living our lives in ways that are unhealthy and toxic because we are angry at this person and we start to make choices around how we live our lives that's impacting us and those who we come in contact with from day to day. So it's very important for you to take some time to acknowledge that, take some time to work on that so that you can start creating the mindset that's going to give you the edge and give you that boost and help you to heal. You see, several times as men, the thing that kills our ability to grow and to regain our confidence is that we are consistently being held in captivity, or we are trapped because of the disappointment that we are feeling based on the relationship that we had many years ago. And so we have lost our drive. We're not as motivated as we used to be, because we believe that somehow, because this first relationship did not work out, and because this person might have said some really mean things to us, we have lost our confidence and we lack the drive and the motivation. Sometimes another piece that has caused us to lose our confidence as men is, I was looking at a movie not too long ago, and this guy, he left home. He was away from home for many years. He turned his back on his faith, he turned his back on his family, and he left home for many years. And then he returned home, and his father did not accept him. His father didn't accept him. And all he wanted, in order to be that confident person again, is for his father to forgive him and to accept him back as a part of the family dynamic. And his father never accepted him. And because of this young man, he was angry. He lived a life that he just sort of lived his life blowing in the wind, so to speak. Really high risk life. And sometimes as men, we live our lives that way. We practice a high risk lifestyle because of a void. There is something that we're searching for. We're searching for that acceptance. We're craving that acceptance from a family member, a father, a mom, a sibling. And because that acceptance is not forthcoming, we have really struggled with our confidence, because our mind is wrapped up in that space where we are saying to ourselves, if only. And what I want you to recognize as a man is this: is as important as it is for you, and as important as you make this out to be, you've got to remember that your healing, your transformation, your ability to create that mindset of a champion is going to become far more validating as you stop seeking that acceptance from outside of yourself. You see, it's not something that just happens overnight, but it's something that as a man you've got to learn that if my dad doesn't accept me, if my mom doesn't accept me, if my companions don't accept me, I've got to learn to accept myself. And I've got to start loving myself and being compassionate towards myself, and live my life in a way where I'm focusing on the things that I can control so that I can start creating a different mindset. And so your confidence, my confidence, is going to be built and is going to be created when I'm more conscious about the following things. Number one is, realistically speaking, your mental wellness is your responsibility. So even if that which you are searching for does not come forward in the time that you have set on it, you have got to take ownership of your journey. Remember this: Your journey is unique to you, and you are going to be able to build and create something specific that fits your lifestyle and fits where you are as a person so that you can grow to become the best version of yourself. Every man has got to be consistent, and every man has got to continue to recognize that if I start working hard enough to connect with myself, to get to know myself, to get acquainted with what those things are about myself that I've been struggling with, if I've been trying to seek validation from outside of myself, from a parent, from a friend, then I've got to step back and ask myself, what would the process look like for me to start seeking validation from within? So it's getting in touch with yourself. And how does one do that? Is a question that you might ask. Getting in touch with yourself means to spend more time in reflection, spend more time in meditation, spend more time asking questions. Spend some time journaling about your thoughts. Spend some time to seek out information, whether it's be through reading, through watching motivational videos, by seeking to listen to motivational speeches. But you have got to take some time to seek out what's going to work best for you so that you can start connecting with yourself. You see, there's no foundation more powerful than that foundation that is built from the inside out. The foundation that's built from the inside out is a foundation that is not shaky because it is created upon that which you have discovered for yourself. So when we are not confident with ourselves as men, it impacts all our relationships. Another piece that has really been impacting us and preventing us our confidence as men is that there are those times when we are not in that space financially as we would want to be, and it is expressed to us in several different forms or in several different ways, maybe in our relationships with our partner. And we're aware that this is happening and it's causing tension in our relationships. And because of that, we lose our confidence and the way we interact and relate in our relationship. It is very obvious. We isolate. We're not as chirpy as we once were. We don't want to really spend time around anyone. We may be drinking a little bit more or smoking a little bit more than we normally do. And sometimes these are some of the signs of us not being as confident about who we are as a person. And when we discover this, it's important for us as men to seek to find an outlet whereby we can release some of these feelings and some of these thoughts that we are carrying. So as men, we have got to learn more how to confront these behaviors. We have got to learn more how to take the initiative and work on these behaviors. You know, Albert Einstein, he said this, and it's one of my favorite quotes. I love it. I love this quote from Albert Einstein. And Einstein said this, and I quote, he says, all meaningful and lasting change starts with the imagination and works its way out, end quote. So just imagine your life going in a different direction. What would that look like? Just imagine your life taking a turn for something better than what it is right now. Just experience that. Just sit and allow your mind to reflect on that for a little bit and just capture what would that look like. Maybe a fun thing that you could do is sit down and write out a paragraph about how you like that to look. And through writing the paragraph, next thing that you're going to do is take some time to seek to look at the content of what you wrote and look at how you're going to seek to start implementing those pieces bit by bit. You see, building confidence as a man means taking the time to engage in that process of self reflection, whereby you are taking that deep dive to work on yourself, knowing that your journey is unique to you. And as you go on that journey, you're taking baby steps. You are acknowledging the areas and the spaces in your life that you need to take ownership of. You're recognizing those things that you need to do differently. You're challenging those thoughts. You're recognizing that, hey, there are some thoughts that I've been holding on to that they are not rooted in facts. You're going to seek to work on how you change certain behaviors that has been impacting your life negatively. You're going to also look at ways to change certain associations so that you can grow and break away from any form of toxic or relationships that you have where you are codependent. You see, that's another big piece. If you're a man and you're in a codependent relationship, it says a lot about your confidence. Why do you feel that you need to be in a codependent relationship? That's some work that you need to do. And so taking ownership of that and creating that mindfulness as a man, as you recognize that, hey, it's time for me to work on my confidence. So sit down, for example, you may need to. And you may need to make a list about all those things that you notice you have been doing that is rooted in the fact that you're not confident. It may be that you're functioning at work. Maybe you're louder than everybody else. Maybe you are more fearful than everybody else. Maybe you're taking more risk than everybody else. Maybe you feel that you shouldn't take a break because you want to make sure that you show your employers that you're better than everybody else. Could that be something that's going on with you because you're not confident? You feel, if I don't do this, I'll be judged, I'll be seen as lazy. What will the other guys around me think? And so, guys, there are several things that we do that it's a matter of us not being confident enough. So we are always trying to prove to ourselves that we're good enough. We're always trying to prove to ourselves that we're smart enough. And sometimes, because we lack that confidence, we're not even setting healthy professional boundaries. So we burn out, we get exhausted, we feel overwhelmed, and we are not acknowledging that it's because I'm not as confident as I should be, why I'm overdoing all the time, why I'm overthinking all the time, why I feel the way I feel all the time. So, when as a man you are confident, you will start making better decisions in your relationship. And there are three things that you need to be mindful of if you're going to have a healthier relationship with yourself and with everybody else around you. Big point number one is this: a man that is confident will be okay to acknowledge his limitations. Okay? A man that is confident will be okay to acknowledge his limitations. There is no shame in having limitations. There is no man on the planet who knows everything. Everybody needs sometimes to reach out to somebody in order to get help, in order to learn more. Remember, life is not static, it's dynamic. So, acknowledging your limitations is key. Big point number two, if you are someone that is confident, you will be okay if somebody does not always agree with your point. All right? You will not get into this space in your head where you're constantly fighting to prove your point every time you open your mouth. If you're confident, you will be confident right across the board. So you have to understand that confidence allows you, it allows you the room to learn how to agree to disagree and not feel like you have to fight to get your point across. Why? Because you're confident enough to accept that everyone is not going to see the world through the same lens as I am seeing it. That's big point number two. And big point number three is this: when you are confident, it will be very easy for you to recognize when you have gone too far with the way you are functioning in your relationship. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Sometimes in our relationships, we're overdoing. We're overdoing. We don't know when to stop. We don't know when to hold back. We don't know when to put a break on it. We overdo, and we overreact, and we are constantly doing and overdoing, trying to prove or to show our worth. When you're confident, you will do and you'll be able to say, hey, I've done my part 100%, and it's time for me to step back now. You see, I want us to get to that place where we're not just saying it, but we believe it and we're living our lives differently. When we grow in confidence, we will function and we react in healthier ways in all our relationships. The people that we connect with or the people that we interact with from a day-to-day basis, it will be easy for us to touch their life. Now, when we say confidence, we're not talking about cockiness. We're not talking about the alpha maleness. We're not talking about living your life with your head up in the clouds. We're talking about a confidence where you're able to connect with and create an atmosphere where others are more than happy and always ready to come and spend quality time around you, because the energy that you're giving off suggests that here is a guy who understands and knows himself. Here's a guy who, when he opens his mouth, he is speaking from a place of love, respect. He's speaking from a place as an authority in his area. He's giving wise counsel, yet delivering it with humility. That's confidence. That's knowing who you are. That's being comfortable with who you are. That's being confident about the reality that I may not be like that person or this person over there, but I'm quite happy with the person that I am. So, are you that guy? Are you confident? Well, if you're not, I want you to start working on that and recognize that at the end of the day, your mental wellness, your mental health, your personal growth and development is your responsibility. And so, as usual, we continue to remind you that personal development is not an event, it's a lifestyle. And you owe it to yourself to engage in that process, to experience that lifestyle that's going to move you along that path to creating something unique that fits for you and that is going to help you to become the best version of you. This is your men's coach, your boy Rolando. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I don't know if you have any questions. I want to just reset the room and remind you guys that this is our podcast here in XY Spark. I'm your coach Rolando, and we are here every Wednesday night, 6:30. Okay, sometimes the times will change. We will make sure we let you guys know. But we are here every Wednesday between the hour of 6 and 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And our topic today was that when we are not confident with ourselves as men, it impacts all our relationships. Guys, listen. For those who join us live on Instagram, we appreciate it. We see you. We send a shout out. Do you guys have any comments or questions out there that you're more than welcome now to type in the chat, and let's talk about that a little bit, or anything that you heard from our presentation tonight that you'd like to just reiterate on this. This is now that opportunity for any of you guys out there. And just say where you're joining us from. That would be great, because we're always excited to see those who give us their quality time here on the podcast. So where are you guys joining us from right now? Okay. All right. So in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And we want to say, join us again next week. We have some special guests lined up to be here with us on our podcast. So don't miss it, guys. Join us again next Wednesday right here on XY Spark, as we continue to have lively discussions around men's mental wellness, personal growth and development, or mental health, whichever expression sits best with you. Thank you for joining us. And we continue to remind you that at XY Spark, we believe that there is a spark in you. And we will see you again next week.
This is XY Spark, restoring holistic, healthy masculinity.